yeah. Welcome. It is special edition Magic Monday, Voters Edition, Election Canada Edition 2021. How you guys doing? Glad to have you here. As always, your host, Neil D'Souza with Magic Mondays. And of course, my co-host above, below, Jason Vaz.
What's up, everyone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You guys ready?
Jason,
are you guys ready? This is gonna be. We're itching for it. We're itching for it.
Love it.
I'd like to introduce, without further ado, Marlon Yeeman.
What's up, boys? Today's the big day.
It is. So speaking of big
Magic
day,
Monday, so I can introduce Marlon.
You want to introduce Marlon from now on?
I think it's just gonna.
Yeah, he's gonna do his late night DJ voice with for lovers only. All right. Well, okay, so here's the thing, guys. So today is our special Voters Edition, Election Canada Edition, because today is the day to vote. Have you guys already been out to vote? Because you know your boy has.
Advanced polls, buddy. Advanced polls.
Guys, there's a planner right there. Jason Vaz already hit the advanced polls. I hit them today. And Marlon, what's your story?
After work,
Okay.
after 5 p.m.
Marlon, slack.
Got to see where the votes are going first, you know?
Pick a winner. Marlon's the guy that goes to Woodbine racetrack and places his bet after the horses have hit down in the cages.
Oh, man.
That's what
I
bet on. Yeah, that's one.
We're at the horse track, ladies and gentlemen, but today we're definitely going to be talking about all the different platforms, different opinions. You guys know how we do. We love to share those different ideas of what we think, obviously, with regards to Ontario, with regards to real estate, but just in regards to personal life as well. So this is an election like none other. And a shout out to Sheldon, bro. Thank you, bro, for the shout out on my hair, because we're always looking good on Magic Mondays. So we're gonna have you on soon, by the way, Sheldon. So. But we're definitely going to be talking about how COVID is impacting the election. We're going to get into some details as well about who can vote, how you can vote, what happens. Some frequently asked questions. But before we do that, we're going to get into our Marlon's Mortgage Minute. Marlon, you ready and queued up to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Let's do it. Marlon's
Mortgage MIA for the last couple of weeks, so I got some good stuff for you guys. So I just wanted to talk, about some of the stuff that's going on in the economy, right? So everyone's always asking me, how's the market doing? Are rates going up? How's housing? How's the economy looking? So today, the first slide we're going to start with is consumer credit. So the latest report shows consumer credit is a really great place. Insolvencies, meaning bankruptcies, are down by 40%. Personal deposits are continuing to rise. No surprise, all the payouts from the government and all that. Less people going out, less stuff, less distractions. People are putting more money aside into their bank accounts. Mortgage and credit card payments continue to trend upwards. So good sign again. People are prepaying their mortgages earlier. People are paying off their credit cards faster. And credit card delinquencies are at the lowest level at 1.3% ever on record. So I would say the economy it's on a rebound. Next slide. So some graphs here, hopefully you can see them. So if you want to talk about, take a look at where the market's going, we always look at what we call the Consumer Confidence Index. So you can see, it was at an all-time low back in May of 2020, and it's going to be in a straight trajectory all the way up until July. So it's all straight in line with the recovery that's going on right now. To the graph on your right, this is what we call household spending, so how much money are people spending? This is also a driving force of the economy, creates jobs, creates employment. So employment is also on the rise. June, we saw 235,000 new jobs created across the country. That's significantly higher than the 195,000 that we expected. That job posting site Indeed, if you take a look at Indeed, there's now 35% more job openings than there were pre-COVID, June, July. So all great signs that, the economy is coming back to life. Having said that, while businesses are trying to hire, there's also a shortage of people that are coming out to the labor force. And I'm sure if you go downtown or any bars or anything like that, you notice it does take quite a lot longer time to get your food and to get, the same kind of service you got before. Immigration. So this is also, part of the big platform for the political parties. So let's just kind of see how they're doing year to date. So, 150 new immigrants year over year. That's a big decrease from what was 575,000. Obviously, that has to do with, the borders being closed. It's also far behind the pace that Ottawa envisioned in terms of bringing new immigration here. As well, new applications are down. And they're less than half of what they were pre-COVID levels. So that's a very interesting stat there as well. So we still have a long way to go in immigration. Granted, that's probably what the vaccine passports are for and all that stuff. Housing starts, everyone's asking, well, is there enough supply? So housing starts are at a 40-year high. There's 282,000 homes on a seasonally adjusted basis that were created. So basically, we've seen 261,000 new homes built within the last year. You have to go back to 1970, the mid-1970s, to see the last time that level of construction was happening. So, hey, they're building the supply, but obviously, supply always lags demand. So that's it for the economic update. One thing I wanted to talk about from the mortgage front and the mortgage rates. Last week, there was a big decrease in 5-year fixed rates. I dropped down by 0.40%. So right now, you can actually get a 5-year mortgage around 1.99%. So if there are any of you out there that are looking to refinance your mortgage, meaning take some money out, pay off some bad debt, or just looking to purchase a new home, it's just in time for fall season. Some great rates out there available for everybody. And that's it. I'll take it over to Jason for his real estate update.
All righty. So we'll talk about real estate. Nothing's really changed. It's all the same song and dance. Inventory is still at an all-time low. And as Marlon said, rates are even lower. And the reality of these things is that these things are correlated to some degree. We've got, when inventory is low and rates are low, that gives the buyer a lot more buying power. And when they have less to choose from, that pushes prices up. So again, your supply is low, your demand is very high. Interestingly enough, is that because it's hit a critical mass where sellers, they want to purchase first. They want to secure that property before they put theirs on the market, because they have they're extremely confident that they're going to get record prices for their home. However, they're a little bit skeptical when it comes to them getting their own house. Now, what is this doing is this is increasing the demand, because you've got people who would be sellers turning into buyers before they're sellers, putting more demand on the market and pushing prices up, and only then are they selling their places. Now, what we're going to be seeing is, as Marlon's mentioned, hey, the rates came down on the bank side, but on the BOC, the Bank of Canada side, they're not increasing rates until the end of 2022. So usually real estate, we see a cycle where we see the prices go up January, February, March. April's where it hits a critical mass. May, kind of a little bit of a spillover, and then it goes stagnant. However, from 2020 and 2021, that has not been the case. We have just seen it go up, 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 and up. And my prediction is, as we go forward, is going well into 2022, we're just going to see those prices skyrocket even further. And when we finally get that rate increase, I think everyone's going to be trying to get a secure purchase before that happens. And I think when the rate increase finally gets unveiled, it's going to be a 0.25% increase. And when that happens, we're going to see a month where things get stagnant, and then we're just going to see it completely slingshot again. So I think we're going to see 3 years of just bull markets across the board. We've seen the economy's growing. We're in a recovery stage from the pandemic. So there's really no reason for things to go down. Furthermore, there's talks about the stress test being eliminated completely, which is going to help buyers even further.
Okay, Jason. All right, hang on, easy on the stress test. We're going to get to talking about that as we get into the election promises. But thank you very much for sharing that with us. Break down the election impact for us on real estate. A lot of confusing initiatives rolling out, and that's from Sheldon Bro.
Don't you worry, Sheldon. We are going to pick this thing apart.
Yes, sir. Okay, now before we do that, let's just quickly address a couple of things. If you're looking to vote and you've got some questions, first of all, who can vote? You've got to be a Canadian citizen. You've got to be at least 18 years of age. You're going to have to show ID. Now, that's always a question. What ID do I have to do? Will I need to be able to vote? Well, you need to take your voter's card and a driver's license, and you can go show up and you can vote.
Or a gun license or a passport.
Yeah, if you don't have a driver's license or you, for some reason, you don't have your voter's card, yes, you can use other forms of ID and make sure that you take, some type of correspondence, like something from your bank or mail that has come to your house, and you can go ahead and go to an election center. Now, something that if you're in the Toronto area, this is something that you're going to have to realize. The number of polling stations is down drastically. If you're expecting to just go to the place that you've always gone to, think again. You can get all the information from Elections Canada or elections.ca, and you can find out the details. But there are so many fewer election stations, polling stations. So please make sure you check your voter's card to see where you can go vote. Have you guys heard or seen how many fewer election stations there are?
Not me personally. Like, I live in Durham region, so and I did the advanced voting. I will say this though, I waited about an hour and a half between getting to my poll station and actually conducting my vote. Now, granted, there are fewer advanced poll stations than there are regular poll stations. Higher voter turnout, maybe. Obviously, we've got to follow social distancing now. But in the past, I've done advanced voting, and I've been in and out of there in 15 minutes. But yeah, there was a line up to the parking lot this year.
Yeah, a lot of the schools are closed out. Yeah, a lot of the schools are closed out because of COVID, right? So, I mean, they were levying a lot of those spots for the voting polls. So,
yeah, that's right. So, guys, make sure that you allow time to go to your voting station and work through those lineups, because there are going to be more people. If you can avoid the rush times, obviously, as soon as you're done work, it's going to be a little bit busy. Dinner time may be a little bit busy. Of course, this morning, if you tried to get in there soon as it was opening, that would have been one of the busier times. But if you can, spread it out through the day, and good luck with that. Make sure that you're social distancing. All COVID rules are still in effect. No one will ask you if you have a vaccine passport or if you've been vaccinated, but you are required to wear your masks. So I'm not sure how they're supposed to identify you with your ID, because I can tell you they didn't ask me to put my mask down. But
keep in mind, though, if you have your voter card and your ID, like, the chances of that, like, this is Canada, not the States. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, someone went through your mail, got your card, and then somehow got your ID. It has to resemble you to some degree,
Yeah. I mean, they saw the good hair and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's the same guy." Yeah. Okay, well, guys, why don't we let's get to it? Let's get into our election days. Now, let me remind you guys, if you're watching, that we are going to be on live tonight at 7 p.m. And we're going to be laid back, a little bit more relaxed. We're going to be watching the updates and giving you some commentary on the election results as they come in. So tune in to this evening at 7 p.m. and join us for our Monday night Magic Mondays election edition. So join us there live tonight at 7. All right. Who wants to go first as we start off about the promises that the different parties have put out there when it comes to the pandemic? Because we know that's been a hot button topic for a while. Any thoughts, guys, on the different platforms?
I think it's a kind of a bloated question because only one party was in power for the pandemic.
Right.
The Liberals. Do I think they handled it properly? I think they did the best they could, given the situation. It's uncharted territories, right? It's not like there was a rule book on how to deal with this. I will say that there was a lot of contradictions. Setting up rules where, hey, you can't have gatherings of so many people, but then during your campaign, having gatherings that are exceeding that amount. It's like, hey, do as I say, not as I do. Not something you want to see in your politicians. But yeah, in regards to the pandemic, I don't know. I think everything was done with the proper intentions, but they didn't look at the exit. That's the best way I can put it. Promising everyone $2,000. That first they were funding it out of one fund, and then they turned it into EI, which a lot of people don't realize the problem that really is. EI is meant there when you are unemployed. It is your money, is not the government's money. You pay into that. And they are depleting that amount because it doesn't show as debt because it's an actual fund. It was a little bit of a slippery move they did there. They're forcing you into unemployment and then saying, oh, here's your money, by the way. Oh, we're so great. No, it's the wrong way of doing things. So I think that was a slimy thing to do. But do I think any of the other parties would have done better? I don't know. That's
a good question.
They never, you know what I mean? Like it's like us sitting there watching a sports match and saying, "Oh my God, you should have done it this way." Well, you're not up to bat, so how could you do? You didn't have the chance.
Well, let's look at the promises that they've made. Marlon, what do you think of the vaccine passport that the Liberals want to bring into effect?
Vaccine passports. I mean, really, I see that as a play just to get the economy open faster. I don't think it's, I don't think it's right that you have to force people to take a vaccine and have to be in the passport. That's a whole other issue in itself. But the play of the vaccine passport, in my opinion, it's a play to reopen the economy, right? Some form of oversight, if you want to put it that way, so that they can get the economy going again. As you can see from some of the economic figures that we went over, immigration's at all-time low, right? That's a big driver of real estate, a big driver of our economy, and the passports are supposed to help with that. So it's not about whether we had passports or vaccine passports when we were kids in high school or whatever it is. This is all about dollars and cents and economics, and that's what that play is in my book. So,
I have a
great point. Great point.
Yeah, I have a different opinion on that. I'm actually in support of it. Contrary to much belief, I'm in support of it, and I'll tell you why. Earlier on in the pandemic, countries like Korea were doing contact tracing, mandatory contact tracing, where everybody had an app where if you went somewhere, bang, it pinged if somebody got COVID and you were forced to go quarantine. I think that's an invasion of privacy. And I think our government had the tools and had the means to do stuff like that, and they did it. They resisted it at the health of the public. Because earlier on in the pandemic, we didn't know how crazy or bad this thing was. In fact, we were getting videos sent to us via Twitter from China where people were dropping dead. On a personal note, I remember my parents were in Japan on a cruise when this first thing happened. I remember I was genuinely scared because I didn't know how deadly this thing was. And at that time, the tech was there, the systems were there, and our government didn't overstep. It's 18 months. They're saying, hey, guys, the vast majority of you are vaccinated. We don't want to go through another lockdown. So we're saying, hey, here's a quick QR code that you just scan to get into places. The reality is the ones that aren't vaccinated, it's unfortunate. Does it mean you can't go out to eat? No, it just means you go pick up your food, you go home and eat it. Your social life is the only thing that gets hurt here. Oh, you can't go see a baseball game. Doesn't stop you from watching it on TV. So you save a couple bucks. I don't see it as I don't see it as a big invasion. I know I've got a couple of friends that are only now getting vaccinated so that they can go out. I think that's a stupid reason, personally. But yeah, all in all, I don't see it as a big deal. That's my opinion.
Well, Jason, let me get your question here on the economy. The conservatives are talking about doing a 50% up to 50% covering wages for new hires. So if you're a business owner and you hire someone new, they're talking about pledging up to 50% of that person's salary. What do you think of that?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Our economy is recovering and doing well. We have money. We don't need government money. Why are we billing the taxpayers? I'm a business owner. Would I maybe I'd hire someone now because I only have to pay 50% of their wages? How long? How, like, is it an entry level job? You know what I mean? Am I getting someone to do clerical work for me? I don't know. I feel like create a environment where I'm going to make more money and let me make the decision to hire someone. Again, small business owner, I will hire someone once my workload gets to a certain level. However, if they're like covering the wages, I don't know. Giving me a tax credit, I think that'd be a little bit better. If they gave me a tax credit for me, an incentive, but I have to come up with the money, I think that's a bit better.
Okay. Well, Marlon, can you comment on the NDP's platform? They want to bring in 1 million jobs into Canada, and now they're talking about actually being able to fund the majority of this. So, can you talk about their plan for the economy?
Well, that's the first time I've heard that one, actually, that they're bringing in 1 million jobs. I think that's interesting. I'm not sure where those jobs coming from. I do know they're big on affordable housing and foreign buyers tax, right? So what I do know about them is that they want
easy on the real estate. We'll get to real estate in a second.
Okay.
Let's just get with the jobs.
So that's the first thing I've heard about the jobs. I don't know where those jobs coming from is the first thing, right?
Are they government jobs? Are they low wage jobs? Like it's a very vague. It's vague.
Jobs are jobs. Like we just saw in the stats, right? I mean, on the Indeed site, they said it's an all-time high of listings, but there's a big shortage of people coming for these jobs. So I guess the key question there is then what type of jobs are these, and are they going to get people out of the woodwork and get off the government feed money and get back to work, right? Because we all know there's some people out there who are just taking the money and they may earn like minimum wage or whatever. They rather get that $2,000 and go back to work, right? And then they have a side gig on the side for cash, right? So a better question is, where are these jobs and what kind of jobs, and will people actually come out to work for these jobs?
It's interesting though, because I know the Conservatives did promise 1 million jobs, but I like theirs a little better because they said it's within 3 years, which means it's within one term. I do believe the NDP said that they could increase things, but it was well over their term, which to me just is a ploy to say, hey, elect us now, we'll eventually make things get better. You just announced 250,000 jobs just came in. If you hold power and wait, Canada's doing pretty good. So whenever they give you these promises over a very lengthy period of time, they're just betting on the country, which they'll probably win. They'll win if they do that. If I tell you Canada's economy is going to grow by 10% over 100 years or more, it's obviously going to grow by 10%. Like it's obviously going to happen. But it comes down to the voter. If the voter has the know-how to be able to see the bullshit, they don't have to step in it.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of jobs, okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Marlon.
No, I was just going to bring it up. As you guys know, I just recently traveled to Banff, right? In preparation for my trip, I went to the dollar store to cash out, and there was no cashier there. It was a machine that dispensed dollar bills and change, and you cash out. I've never seen that at some of the dollar stores. At the airport, there was a robot mopping the floor. So, again, what type of jobs are coming out, right? I mean, AI, machines, all that stuff's coming out, taking out a lot of different, blue collar jobs. So where are these jobs coming from?
You know what? Right? A lot of people get upset about that. And I had a discussion with a friend of mine who refuses to use the self-checkout. I actually go out of my way to use the self-checkout. And there's a reason for it. Is the more you use it, the less job postings for these types of jobs. These are skillless labor. Like someone who is a cashier for 10 years cannot use those skills that they've developed over the last decade to transfer to something else. It's very dead end. How do we stop dead end jobs? I always use the example. Back in the day when you wanted to call from one office to another, you had to hit a switchboard. That doesn't exist anymore. That's not a bad thing. That's just the way things are going. The reality is, if a robot can do it better, let the robot do it better. And now we're telling the next generation, hey, don't go for these jobs. Go for something better. We are a service-based economy in Canada for the most part, at least in Ontario and Quebec, which is the bulk of our population. I know some of y'all live outside of there that are watching, but that is the bulk of it. So we've got to kind of accept that for what it is. Those that want to be janitors and that's your lifelong dream, that's great, but a robot's going to take your job after 3 years. So it is what it is. And a robot doesn't strike.
Let me jump right off of that into the housing portion of our election section. So, I want to talk about the NDP. So the NDP have promised 500,000 new units. Really, what are they talking about?
We need to make sure we put that out there. Affordable.
Yes, affordable units. And so what they're really talking about is places to rent, places for people that can't afford regular housing. And so they're really trying to address that. The other thing is that the promises that they've made on that are based on a 10-year timeline, when you've only got 4 years in power. And if you get reelected, you've got another 4 years. So, I would really say if you're looking at real estate, if you're concerned about that as a platform, as a marker for the economy, then the NDP, they've not really addressed this marker.
I want to touch on that. For anyone watching, just exactly what you said. Keep in mind, guys, 200,000 people come into this country every year. That is, what does that end up? That's 2 million people in a 10-year span. 2 million people come into a country, and that's a huge population increase. So what do we have? 37 million people here. So to have 2 more million kind of hit there, that brings us up to 39, almost 40 million. If you don't think that the sheer demand of housing is not going to create 500,000 homes, we shouldn't be having a conversation. So the NDP is basically saying to you, elect us, and we're just going to let the natural course of things take place, but elect us for it. Any one of these guys you elect, that will happen. You don't need to. We don't have to have anyone running the country, and that will happen. That's the reality of it all. That's how stupid these promises are. And they throw the word affordable in there because young people who are getting their ass kicked in multiple offers will buy into it, because they'll be like, I'm getting my ass kicked. And if this guy was a leader, I wouldn't get my ass kicked. No, that is not the truth. This is 10 years. Come on. You can get that done in a year. That if you really make that a true campaign promise, get it done in a year.
Jason for Prime Minister.
No.
Okay.
God, no.
Here's what I really want to ask you, Jason, with regards to that, is the Liberal platform, where they're talking about bringing down blind bidding. They want to remove blind bidding.
Ooh, it's impossible. It's impossible. They can't. Let's look at it.
Even if they legislate?
Okay, so you legislate it. How do you enforce it? How do you enforce? You two want to buy my product. I don't want to tell you two what each one's bid is. How do you enforce that? Are they going to invest the research and development to create an open platform? It's going to cost more money to implement it than it is costing people here. So let's go bill the taxpayers billions of dollars to go implement a system so that we can keep these real estate agents accountable. The sellers don't want this, and the buyers don't want this either. Could you imagine you're buying a house and it's listed for $1 million and it's been sitting on the market for a month? Let's flip the roles here. Not that it's a heated market, because it's not always a heated market. It's $1 million. It's been sitting on the market for 30 days. Neil, you call me up and say, Jay, offer him $800,000. Let's see if they take it. And now you find out that I do that, and the agent now has to tell everyone that's seen that property over the last 30 days, we have a bid in for $800,000. Meaning, if someone else comes in there and just offers 10,000 more, they get the place. And what's to stop them from telling you until it's too late? When they say, "Oh, sorry, someone came in with 10 grand more," they fulfilled their contractual obligation of keeping it an open bid. But what now? Are they going to say, "Oh no, you have to allow enough time"? They'll use very loose language. And let's face it, 30 minutes is more than enough time. We sign things on our phones now. Like it is a stupid thing. They're just saying it because they know that voters are getting their ass kicked in buying homes, and they think that they say it, they'll get the vote. They will never be able to implement that. It'll never happen on a countrywide scale. And what does this translate to? Blind bids on what? On real estate? What about commercial? What about agricultural? What about, real estate's a very broad topic. It's only affecting those in the residential housing market. What about land leases? What about residential leases? At this point, it changes things completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, if you look at the Liberal platform, they address a little bit of a whole number of items, and that's the reality. And I think that's really more to.
If look, I imagine this is a cup of water. All right, let's face it. When you're sick, hydrating is a good thing. If you have the flu, if you have a headache, you're supposed to have water. It does not cure anything, though. It helps. That is the Liberal platform: is a glass of water. A little bit to help and not enough to fix the problem.
Well, let me, because we've run out of time, but Marlon, can you give us your 2 cents on the Tories platform for real estate?
I think it's quite interesting. They tried to kind of match some of the stuff that the Liberals had there, but I think a lot of the stuff there that they had there, to be honest, is a little fluffy. I know they're trying to get people into 7 and 10-year mortgages. They're trying to get rid of the stress test. I know Jason and I were talking about that. I think getting rid of the stress test is going to have an effect on the market, bringing it higher, because obviously a lot more people are going to come to the market. There's still not enough supply. You can only imagine how crazy that would be. But Jason does bring up a good point. The stress test was designed to help first-time home buyers, and instead it's had the opposite effect. It's hindered them, right? I can't remember which party it was. I do like the plan for if you're a first-time home buyer with less than 20%, that you can get an amortization for 30 years instead of 25 years. I've always been a big believer in that. Most first-time home buyers have less than 20%. So why are we penalizing them and capping them at 25-year amortization? I really do believe they should have the 30-year amortization, which makes the payment more affordable and makes them able to qualify. I think that's a better solution than getting rid of the stress test.
Why not a 40-year?
Well, 40 years, they could bring back the 40-year. It's banned,
they should. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
People are working longer. How many people do you know that retire by 50?
Not many, if any.
And how many people are buying later in life? So you've got an average population who are buying in their mid-30s and are paying off their with expectations to pay off their properties by 65. Do you know how many people I know that are well into their 70s still carrying a mortgage? But the reality is the rates are so low that doesn't matter to them. It really doesn't matter to them. And in fact, debt is good when it comes to real estate because the equity gains outpace the debt. Smart people carry a mortgage till they die. This playing it safe doesn't get anyone rich. And in regards to what the Tories saying with the removing of the stress test, the design of the stress test was to save the market and protect first-time home buyers. It has done nothing to the market, and it has hurt first-time home buyers. So get rid of it. The way I see it is the banks already have an internal stress test. Marlon, you already know about this. Banks are very good at saving themselves. They're very good at assessing risk. Let the banks do what the banks do. All right. Let them regulate how they want to spend their money. All right. They are borrowing the money from the Bank of Canada at 0.25% and lending it at 1.5%. They are making a good profit margin. But government's going to come in. Oh, but you got to run it like it's 5%. Why? 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 We're never going to see 5%. Not anytime soon. So why are we doing that? It's like putting 10 seatbelts on. It takes you 30 minutes to get in and out of the car for a 5-minute drive. But just in case.
Love it,
Ladies and gentlemen, the illustrious Jason Vaz and Marlon Yeeman. That's our election day special, and we're going to be we're on tonight at 7 p.m. live. If you want more details about the real estate platform, please see our show, our previous show, and you'll be able to get where we break it down for the entire episode. You can get more on that, but see us tonight. We're gonna be watching the election results. You'll get all sorts of commentary on that at that point in time, and we'll see what the media, of course, is saying at that point based on how the voting comes in. But guys, thank you so much for your time. This is Magic Monday. On behalf of my co-hosts, Marlon Yeeman, Jason Vaz, and myself, Neil D'Souza, we'll see you guys tonight at 7 p.m.